You are welcome to another episode of the Shadi Non-Conform Show. This is episode 2, and today on the show I have with me someone special. He's a producer, songwriter, artist, music producer, and composer. He is also a mixing and mastering engineer. He owns an entertainment company called Jab Nation, which houses both his production work and serves as a digital record label. He has produced for artists such as Psquare, Dare, Awilo, Capital Femi, Shaman, Idris Abdul Karim, to name a few. Ladies and gentlemen, I have with me the one and the only VTEK. Welcome to the show, VTEK.
Hi.
We can't hear you now.
Hi. Well, I was worried about talking with the outside voice. So,
You want to do, what's the word?
yeah,
What's this one now?
the pimp game
Oh.
voice.
Oh, that's been catching ladies. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So it is December 31st. Do you have any New Year's resolution? Because tomorrow is New Year's Day.
Yeah, actually. Well, for me, 2017 is I've called it the year of awesomeness.
Okay.
For a good reason. You know, I've had quite an interesting 2015, 2014, 2015, 2016.
Okay.
You know, I like to describe those years as the internship of life.
Okay.
So 2017 is the year, you know, it happens.
Okay. Good.
Big.
Awesomeness.
Yep.
That's great. Cool. All right. So can you tell us a bit about, because obviously VTEK is your production name.
Yes.
What is your passport name? Who is VTEK?
Actually, VTEK is the acronym for my four names.
Oh, what
yes,
are
I
they?
was born with my stage name. My first name, Victor.
Okay.
My second name, which is Taiwari, which is
Okay.
Bielsa.
Okay, I heard you
And
born
then,
in Bielsa.
yes, then the E is Inakeme,
In Nakeme.
which is, you know, Edu,
Okay.
because mom says Edu.
All right.
And then my surname is Podosu, Kpoudosu.
Oh, so you
Yes,
just
so-
merged everything together.
Yes, I just, and it became VTEK.
That's so cool.
Yeah, then I stuck the awesome at the other end because,
Yeah.
you know, being that I'm kind of awesome.
You
Yeah.
are awesome.
Yes.
We're not, you know, we're affirming stuff into our lives. We're not,
Yep.
we're not qualifying them.
Yep.
You know, so it's like you are awesome. That's cool. So Victor, say again, what's
Tariwari,
Tarawari,
which is House of Love. That's what it
Oh.
means actually.
cool.
You know, and then Inakeme is
Inakeme.
it's kind of like the cliche Chinese chosen one.
Oh,
Yes, the one we've been waiting for.
okay.
And then, you know, my surname Podosu.
Okay. What does
Yes.
your surname mean?
It's a weird way they describe it, but basically what it means is all the old things, all the, you know, the woes, the pains are
Gone.
thrown over.
That's cool.
You
So
know.
you have a really lovely name. That's deep.
Yep.
That's cool. Well, thank you for that, you know, brief background on what your name means. So
Yeah.
where did you go to for primary school, secondary school, uni? Can you tell us a bit about that? And do you come from a family of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1?
Okay. First of all, I was born in Lagos.
Okay.
You know, and I'm from a family of 3.
Okay.
That's minus Popsy and Momsy.
Okay. You're the only child?
No, actually, I'm
Okay.
the second.
Okay.
I have a younger
Oh,
sister
minus
and
one,
an
okay.
elder brother.
Okay.
You know, so we're 3. And my primary school education was pretty much, there's a school called Bessie.
Okay.
We call it Bessie, but it's actually Bessie International School.
Alright.
Back in the day, we used to live in, I don't know if you know where Oshodi is.
I know it's yeah.
Exactly. We used to live there. My grandma, so we kept the family kind of close. You know, I did primary school, then I did Igbobi College
Okay.
for secondary, and then stopped somewhere, and then we moved. When I lost my mom, we moved.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, we moved, and I went to another private school called Links,
Okay.
and that was where I, you know, graduated. You know, high school, secondary school,
Yeah.
and I didn't do university for almost 5 years. Then I got into Unilag.
Oh.
You know.
What is Unilag people?
Yes, but no, I didn't qualify because I didn't stay long enough. I actually dropped out
Why did you drop out?
twice.
Twice.
Yep, I got in twice and I left twice. The first time, it was around the time I really started doing, like I'd been doing production work since 2005. Yes, since that's pretty much when I was in, I think, SS2.
Oh, okay. We're getting there, Sha.
Yes.
2005.
Yes, I hope I'm getting the date wrong because I keep, you know,
Mixing
flipping it
them
in
up.
my head.
Okay.
But when I started Studio Duties for 2006, you know, so I had been doing production, and then I thought, okay, I could get into school. But I got into part-time, and that was the same year I started really doing production alone. Met with at the time the guy that used to work with the band, and he was trying to get me on their label because the band thing going solo just really kicked, and I had started my own small studio, which was actually a garage, an empty big car garage with the mic and a small booth. So the pressure of doing it was hard because, yes, I was also working as in-house engineer for a studio.
Okay.
So it was like a day job, school. And furthermore, I applied for diploma part-time. And in my class, we were like maybe 6.
Oh, wow.
So you can imagine how wacky it is sometimes when you show up and there's nobody there.
Yeah.
And the lecturers are like, well, maybe just read, if you can, move, change courses, So, in the end, I just went, you know what?
Do this on my own.
And, I've not regretted it because, I'm pro school, but I also encourage people to know what they want to do with their lives, really. I figured that a long time ago. So that's pretty much the summary of university. Yeah.
Cool. So can you take us a bit back? Because I know you touched on that a little. Can you talk about your musical background? How did you start producing, and what gave you the motivation to stay with producing? Do you play any instruments?
Okay. Well, first of all, I grew up in a home where music was allowed. Mom C she used to work in Night Post, and she was like a director. So they would do all those whole yearly albums, all those things, and she was a part of it. I grew up on a lot of music. Carly Simon, my dad is a reggae head.
My dad's it.
So that one is already settled.
Yeah.
All the reggae heads at the time,
yeah.
And I did a lot of African music as well.
Okay.
We really grew up knowing, okay, this is where music is from. When you think of good music, when you think of sane music, when you talk about content, this is the base. From here you can go. Of course, they were very, fishy about the idea of, not sure if being a producer or a musician was a good idea. Because at the time, musicians were not balling.
Exactly.
But
it was like a sin.
Yes, we grew up in that home. And from the get, I've always been a music guy. I wanted to tell this. I used to take, like the cassette, the side that's empty. I put a pen in it and start, doing the turning and singing, and then, transfer the tape here and turn it back, like the side A and the side B. That's how much I was into it.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of drawing. We did a lot of singing in the house. But I was just the art guy.
So
Art.
your house was one of music.
Yes. Music, art generally. My pops was an amazing artist. He was an amazing writer, still is. So we just grew up around all that stuff. It wasn't weird. So I grew on that, and then down the line, I got the first piano, which was taken away by my uncle.
Why?
Still drive-by shootout situation with him.
Are you serious?
Actually, not that. It's just figurative. But
I was like, why's your uncle doing drive-by?
No, it's actually just me going, look, I want to do this. Mom C wasn't too sure, so Popsy bought the keyboard. Uncle plays in church. Oh, let's borrow it for 1 week. 1 week became like till today. And going further after high school, when my stepmom and my dad now figured, oh, this guy is not going to stop doing music. So they reversed the university pressure to music school pressure. And that's where I went to Museum Center.
That's cool.
Yes, I did. That's where I really started playing the piano. Then I went to Peter King. So I've been around in terms of, music. And then, of course, I played the piano. I mess around with the guitar, but nothing extravagant. But piano is my guy, my girl, my homeboy.
Your babe.
And, of course, I sing as well.
Okay.
We know you're
an artist. We get to that later in the show.
Yeah. So basically, my music background is rich. Really rich. And my folks were, they were advocates of develop yourself. Okay, this. You can stay with it. So I'm very much in touch with the old school. I love the old school music. I really do. Like that bad. I still have maybe like 100 plus of their records, and I lost a few hundred.
Like old school music. So when you say old school music, what do you mean by old school music?
Wow. Well, I'm not going to say Michael Jackson. That's just
That's
cliche.
not old school.
That's not even that old school. But, first of all, folks they did a bit of classic music. So I had exposure to, people like the Art Tatums, the early guys. Art Tatum was an amazing pianist, the Nat King Cole.
Yeah.
That was the very first time. I mean, as a kid, I already knew who Harry Belafonte was, and not because of We Are the World.
Yeah. Sure, I feel like that's what everybody knows him from, right? You knew him before. That's really cool.
So I grew on that stuff, I touched on rock, I mean, the Janis Joplin, did a tiny bit of Led Zeppelin. It was for me, but there were no limits, there were no limits. And, of course, the Stevie Wonders, the Ray Charles, I guess I just knew a lot of music from the old. So if I hear it, it's nostalgic.
Yeah.
And I'm not that old. So it's just funny when but that's because of the folks,
I would ask you how old you are, but that's not the purpose of the show. We'll just keep it moving.
Well, I don't hide my age. I'm not that guy. I'm
know,
proud of my age.
Me too.
I don't understand, because I mean, if you're not your age right now, that means you're dead. So at the end of the day, I'm proud of it. But however, let's not digress.
Yes, that's fine. Yeah.
The music for me was from the source. That's what I'd call it. The gospel music. My mom was Edo. Her grandma was core Edo. I mean, I meet people when I say, "Oh, have you heard of Benji?" They're like, "Who is Benji?" That's like a classic Edo musician. Like I grew on that stuff. There were no, "Oh, Victor, that is Eddie Pendergrass." You will listen to 5 of his records and remember. It was just a music. Oh, what's that? Oh, the Bee Gees. Nice. Dolly Parton. Oh, Carly Simon. It all got in.
That's
and
awesome.
I learned at that early stage that music is not just the words or the business and all. That came later. It's also the intent, the emotion behind it. As a kid, I would listen to Earth Song and cry. And of course, when I mean emotions, I mean, okay, now that I create, I know you cannot detach yourself from what you do, no matter what you do, musically. So my background is rich. I wish I could sum it all up, but I can't, because it's a lot,
Shout out to your mom and dad for giving you a well-rounded musical experience of being exposed to different genres of music, because I feel like a lot of times not every child or children have the opportunity to have parents who expose them to a wealth of genres of music. So look at you.
Yo, shout out to the folks.
Shout out to the folks. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so you just took us through your musical background. So now I want to go to, since you already know Janis Joplin, all these awesome people, how does that influence your music production process? How do you go about creating your beats? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Can you take us through that process of what it's like to create music?
Okay. As a producer, I'd say really there is not a lot of, how do I call it? I can't say there's a process. Like I said, music. What my folks did with art, which is what I encourage people to do. I'll just say this real quick. I find a lot of practitioners of the arts, they are very stuck up. They are proud and all that stuff. And I'm like, fine, there's character issues in humans. We all work to become better people. But you see, with music, you cannot become, I like to call it, an adult. Music is like a child. Music as a person is like a child. He sees candy, he wants candy. He sees, sticks, he wants to put in his mouth, basically he wants to be free. So I grew up like that, and that's the way I make music. I could be here right now having this podcast, and there's an idea that starts to torment. It has nothing to do with what I've experienced. Gone are those days when it was about feeling bad or feeling good. At the end of the day, for me, creativity is freedom. And freedom is almost like that do what you will, mantra, which I'm not a fan of in the context it's used, but in the arts, I am, because, music, the process of conceiving the idea, the conception is born out of anything. It's not tied to an emotion or an experience, rather. It's actually tied to an emotion. And of course, I have a studio. So when I have these ideas, I turn on my PC, pull out my keyboard, there's a few people that are always around when I work sometimes. They're also songwriters, singers as well. So for me, the process is there's no trail, there's no roots for me.
It's not one-dimensional.
No, not at all. There are times I just make music myself. There are times I have to run it by even the random guy that's just a friend that's, okay, hey, listen, how do you feel? Oh, good. And then I go back in the studio. I've had songs that I finished in minutes. I've had songs that took me weeks, So there's no process per se.
Yeah.
It's just think it, sit down, do it.
Cool.
See it through.
Yeah. Sometimes do you see yourself in that stream of consciousness when you are creating a song? Because I know that you said that there's no one-dimensional process. But I asked that question because I was watching this interview with Miguel, and they were interviewing him, and the guy who was interviewing Miguel said that how does he go about creating music? And he said that sometimes creating music can be just by a stream of consciousness. He gets into the studio and the music literally just flows out of his mind, and sometimes, like you said, it can take hours, it can take days to create what he's trying to create. So sometimes, do you feel like you have more of the stream of consciousness, or it's more of it takes a while to get there? No?
Actually, for me, it's actually the stream of consciousness thing, because it's so bad that right before I perform, sometimes I am thinking of a song. I hear. Now, of course, we have rats in every house, and then you hear that sound they make when they run, and you're thinking, and you hear the gen, maybe when you're playing the keyboard, because generator is our best friend, considering, certain factors. Yeah, tragic. So for me, it's just, it's like my brain, my ears, it's picking up stuff from anything. It almost doesn't make sense. A lot of times I find myself just randomly laughing, and it's because even I think, oh, this is silly, let's try it. It doesn't even have to be about me coming to the studio, all right, but being in here is, once it comes, it goes in.
Cool.
A lot of times I just listen to people talk, and that thing they said inspires, oh, we could talk about that, or I could make a production like one song I heard. So, for me, it's so broad. I can't wrap myself around it. I've been inspired straight out of an argument, and I made a song in maybe 2 hours, and then I've had the most peaceful points in my life where I couldn't even produce for weeks. So, it's for me. It's now I'm just in that place where it's just there. It's just there. I want to feel love. I want to make it. Boom.
I was joking with a friend. I said that every time I talk about the creative process, I remember like being in the car with a friend, and he's like, literally, Shade, pull over. I'm like, what? I was doing like, where maybe someone's like trying to attack me, and he's like, no. Brought out his phone, and he just began to like hum into the phone. He's like, I need to catch this. If I don't catch it now, if I don't say it now, I'm going to forget. So yeah, it's just very interesting.
Actually, I'm guilty of not doing that.
Oh, not doing
this
that.
Because yes, I do it sometimes, but I just had a wonderful idea this morning, and I can't remember the idea because, of course, it just came, and I was doing a whole bunch of stuff in the house, and I was like, now I won't forget. Yes, human factor kicks in, but that's just the way it is. For me, it's just it's like when people say, "Oh, VTEK, I would like to have your brain." Like, you don't want that. It's not a good idea. It's not quiet in there.
I feel like it's that whole thing as human beings. Like, we want what other people have, and we're not content with what we have. So.
Yeah, trust me.
Okay, so you talked about the music production process. Can you tell us what types of software and tools that you use when you create music?
Okay. For me, for one, I started with Cubase. No, actually, I started with Audacity, which was just a music editing software, not really for recording, but I recorded it. Then I moved to Magix. Okay. Magix Music Maker at the time. Okay. And I found Fruity Loop. That's when I really started. Yes,
Yeah.
Now, of course, when I heard about Fruity Loop, it was the learner software. Isn't it ironic? Because every big song I made was from Fruity. Every single one.
That's cool.
If I've made 20 in my entire career, maybe about 2 are from other softwares. Okay, now I did Fruity Loop. I started working in the studio. They were using Reason and Cubase, but I always had my eyes on Pro Tools. I knew I was going to go to Pro Tools. So right now, my workflow: Fruity Loop, Pro Tools.
Which one do you prefer?
Actually, I like both, but I like to separate them. When I want to do my beats, I do them in Fruity. I do all the music in Fruity Loops. Then if I want to do certain technical things like maybe automations, all the fancy effects, I just leave it to Pro Tools. So Pro Tools is my editing, mixing and mastering flow. Fruity Loop is my production flow. Even in my head, that's the way it's segregated. They don't cross. I've had to make productions in Pro Tools, but the workflow is not the same because I didn't start with it. And I think the office in my head just knows, okay, the department of production is Fruity Loop, department of everything else is, And then, of course, I have all these beautiful plugins that really make our work great.
Like?
One, I love the IK Multimedia T-Rax plugins. A lot of people use T-Rax alone, but I like to use it in Pro Tools. And I came to find that every software, one way or another, has its own unique tonal character. Like the new Cubase 7, 8, it's really warm. And then back in the day, I used to use Nuendo 2. Nuendo 2 was very edgy. So for me, Pro Tools is just the middle point.
So when you say like one was warmer, one was edgy, how does that affect the production of the music?
Actually, it's just signal flow.
Okay.
You get when you do things like mastering, that's where you really start telling. Because when you master some maybe it's just the GUI, maybe it's just the interface that programs your mind to hear and work a certain way. But when I've worked with all these softwares, the only one I've not really worked with is Logic, because I'm not the Mac person.
Me neither.
Yeah. So I've worked with all of them. They have characteristics that make them wonderful for starts, but in the end, they are just tools. They are just tools. So by the time you get into it, it doesn't matter anymore. I use, of course, the classic Waves plugins. Their bundles are awesome because, with Waves alone, you can do anything, including production. Then, of course, the T-Rax, I mess around with Pro Tools Air plugins. There are plugins in Pro Tools that are amazing. I can even do a mix in Pro Tools from top to bottom without anything extra. For me, it's simple. I have tons of plugins, of course, but I don't use tons of plugins. I know the ones I go for, And if I was to elaborate, it would take a long time because I'll be talking about a lot of them in details.
It's okay.
And you'd be like, what?
No. But honestly, that's the point of the shows for people, for those even who are music producers and songwriters, and those who are not really familiar with music creative process, for them to be informed as well. So we're not averse to you going in depth and being very technical. That's the point. We want to educate and inform people. So feel free to talk about, all the technical things that, is in your world of music production. We're totally very, very happy to hear that. So I know you touched on mixing and mastering. Can you tell us what is the difference between mixing and master? Because some people think that they're the same. Yeah. But they're actually different. So can you tell us what it means to mix and what it means to master and how they're different? Okay.
First of all, production, maybe the conception is not fixed to a pattern. But when it's time to create, you have the idea, you maybe have a sketch, whether it's in your head, your phone, and then you pen down. Maybe you produce, then you write, or you write and then you produce, and then you compose, you arrange. Then once you're done with the creation, you move to the technical, which is the mixing and mastering. Now, mixing and mastering are not the same. I have no idea how. I think it's just the mixing and mastering joined together. So the truth is, mixing is taking. It's pretty much it's the part of the creative process that deals with the sonic characteristics of the music, as opposed to, oh, I like that guitar sound, I want this melody. Now you are like, okay, the kick, the snare, the hi-hat, how do I separate them so they are very, intelligible in the music? Oh, I think this song is a classic. I think we need to put a guitar amp that, gives it that rock feel to sound like the 70s, maybe something, Nirvana or someone did, and at the end of the day, mixing is probably even almost maybe more important, because everything is refined at that point. The sonic characteristics of the music, the brightness, the dullness, everything you hear that gives you the feeling of the music, for the most part, is driven by the mix. Okay, I recorded in a dry room, but this music is a big band song. That's the mixing. The mixing now goes, okay, look, we have a bunch of dry instruments. We got to take a good reverb, something, maybe a plate reverb, or if you want a big feel, you have your reverb set to maybe like hall, just to create that feeling. Yeah. The idea is that's the sonic carving of the music. You've done the creative music creation carving process. Now this guy, or the guys in some cases, will sit and go, look, let's make this song, hit you sonically this way. Now mastering, the way we use it, the context to use it, is actually not completely correct, because people say mixing and mastering, but the process of mastering is usually used in context of an album. Ideally, what we do is mixing and pre-mastering based on maybe a single, for instance. It's called a pre-master because, we're talking about the body of work. This is like, okay, before we get to that point of mastering this collection of music, let's do a pre-master for this. It's just terms, but mixing and mastering are very different. Mastering is basically taking the music and maybe by just light enhancements, bringing it to commercial standard in relativity to the genre. Okay, mixing focuses on the sonic characteristics. Mastering basically goes, okay, now this song sounds wonderful, but it's not loud enough. Okay, at the end of the mix, maybe the song is not bright enough. Let's just touch up a little and basically take the next song close to it, and say, okay, these songs can stand together in the market. You don't want your record to come out and sound weak or without character. So the mastering is if your mix is right, the mastering is quick, because
I read that somewhere.
Yes, a mastering engineer is not a corrective sound engineer. If a mastering engineer is correcting errors on your mix, you need to go back to the mix. So there are two different things. The mixing engineer is probably the guy with the most work, because he has to take your creative idea, the producer, sit down with it, sonically balance it, so you are feeling what you felt when you made your music, maybe even better, and that, okay, when I finish this record, the guy out there who is not connecting to this guy has to connect to him, has to hear this vocal and feel, oh, love, or feel, intensity, or feel, happiness, so they are intertwined. But you see, mastering is just the guy that goes, okay, you're done, right? Okay, good. Maybe pull up the levels, apply little effects, maybe compression, EQ here and there, stereo imager, just to make it, okay, now we are taking it out there. There's a commercial standard. This music has to be mastered for that.
As a producer, do you have a unique sound? What is so distinctive about a VTEK production? People, you can say, that track was made by VTEK. Can you tell us what makes your sound very distinctive and unique?
Very simple. They're awesome. It's actually the sweetest answer to that question, because it's almost impossible to say, okay, this is why. I am the creator. I know my music tonally. Now, one of the things that VTEK has had over the years, which, it's just a gift from God, is by virtue of experience, growth, and just being myself, I am not confined to a box. There are lots of productions I've done that people don't even know. At the time when I produced Ejajo Ejajo, which was Psquare featuring Ti. We were at the video shoot, and somebody there was like, this Jermaine Jackson try for this production.
And you're like,
I'm there, and my brother hears that, and he's like, Victor, and in my mind, I'm laughing because I'm like, that's what it's about. That's why I said it's awesome. It's not a sound per se you hear. You don't hear, how you hear maybe a Don Jazzy production, or you hear, someone else saying, that's how they do beats. VTEK is not in that box. I like to treat music, I like to call it traditionally. If I want to make a rock song, I want to make a rock song. I want you to hear a rock song and go, this is amazing. Who made it? Oh, VTEK, makes sense, So that's the thing. I'm not that guy who has those particular set of instruments that I like to use, that once you hear it, it's him. And that's just what I feel makes me, still be here, because I've done movie scores. I'm still doing movie scores. I've done radio production.
What movies have you scored?
Well, there's a movie. First, I did the score for Clarence Peters' short film, Hex.
Okay.
I did the score. Then I also did the score for a movie called When Love Happens Again. Okay. It's in cinemas here,
You guys up. I think I saw that promo for that somewhere.
Yeah, I actually did the score. Nice. Me and Captain Femi. Captain Femi did a lot of the music, but I did the score.
We were actually listening to Spotlight by with you and Captain Femi.
Yeah. So basically, I have plenty of range. I have worked with Fuji guys. I've worked with reggae guys. I've worked with guys that in their mind are rock stars, because as far as I'm concerned, there's not a lot of them here. I've done a lot of gospel. So I don't have a tonal, signature.
Cool.
Maybe you hear my voice on the record, but
awesome.
That's about it.
Yeah, I asked that question because I was reading some article a while back, and I remember they were interviewing Stargate, and they asked them that what was distinctive about their production, like what makes a Stargate production. How would you know that that's Stargate? And they said that for them, they feel like their trademark is classic melodies with contemporary music production. So they said that they don't do too much, but they just do just enough. Yeah. So again, I don't feel like their response was very particular to a specific sound. It was just very general what they said. But
the thing with that reply is, I could say that, my production, are very melodic. For me, I grew up on a lot of music. I am very musical. If you hear even my pop beats, you'd still hear that music. Like, okay, this guy knows his strings, he knows his bass, he knows his guitar. He wants you to feel something, even if it's an unserious song. I wouldn't say it's a classical thing. It's just where some people have picked up on a style, I've picked up on the feeling, and I tried as much as possible to leave it on my records. Spotlight, for instance, people hear it and they're inspired. Then they listen to something else, and they feel like there's a feeling it gives you. And then some say the songs, like the beats, sing. That's actually the way my productions are described the most. They said the beats, like the instrumentations they sing. When you hear them, you can hear songs. I don't know if that is the perfect, but I mean, if someone tells you, when I hear your production, it sings. Great, that must be what you feel. And there's some hear it and they're like, it's very musical. You can hear it and know, okay, this is music. It's not just a great record, but it's music. So that's just, I guess that's, and of course on my records I put my signature.
Awesome.
So
cool. Okay, well that's really good to know. Now, just making a quick segues. Do you think that Nigerian music has a peculiar sound? Still sticking with that sound question that I have. Do you think that Nigerian music has a peculiar sound and that can be identified anywhere in the world? And do you think it should have a particular name? Because, I don't know if you've read, there are lots of articles that say there's this whole issue between Afrobeat and Afrobeats and Afropop. So do you think that Nigerian music has a peculiar sound? And if it doesn't, should it?
Okay. This is the first thing that causes all this long things. That's what I call it.
Unnecessary drama.
The first thing is, we are such a diverse country. you have Yoruba Hausa Igbo. Inside the Igbo people, they have Ari, they have High Life. I'm sure they have a whole lot of other music styles we don't know. I don't even know what the Northerners call theirs. In the West, I mean Lagos, the Yoruba land, you have Juju, you have Fuji, you have Akpala, you have Woro. Now, how do you take all these many styles and just call, maybe zoom out on the map and go Nigeria, this sound? It's impossible. Now, to go further, Nigerians are musical people, but at the same time they are not. I'm thinking of a word that won't sound too mean, but the word is, or the term is, Nigerians explore whatever works. So you see right now, a lot of big records here sound like what, like the post effect of Kona. Yeah.
Do you know that when that song came out, I swear I felt like every other song was trying to replicate that
Exactly.
sound.
Same thing with this whole Ghana groove, this whole Azonto,
yes,
the I don't know what they call it, but that style, that thing that the Ghanaians did for a while, and then we picked up. So it's difficult. All this Afrobeat, Afro hip hop, it is just, I can come out and say my song style is Afro high life jazz, and then I start flaunting it. It's difficult to categorize Nigerian artists. That is probably why a lot of mainstream guys may not even get the proper international recognition, because you can't. Fine, they said don't be in a box, but even outside the box, there are boxes. You are a singer, a rapper, or a singer that raps, or you are, that those descriptions are clear. Okay, when they listen to you, they could tell, okay, this is a reggae person that's maybe singing R&B every now and then. Oh, this kind of music is derived from here. Basically, what we do, if I was to call Nigerian music anything, I would call it Afrofusion. Personally.
Afrofusion.
Why I would call it Afrofusion? Not because of the fusion style, because of the word. I mean, we are biting from everywhere.
Everywhere, it's all encompassing.
Remember when Awilo, the Gumba, was like a demigod here?
Yes.
Everybody had an Awilo type record. Do you understand? So I have always called what we do Afrofusion, because there will always be that Nigerian factor. Maybe the language, maybe the melodies, but we don't have a style. The styles we have are the traditional styles. The same way you go to Brazil and say, what kind of music does do Brazilians do? I'm like, okay, we know of the sambas, like the samba, and they have very intertwined culture. So you can associate their music to one dominant culture. Same thing with maybe the francophone speaking people. You'd go Sukus, Makosa, Zouk. But you see here, there are too many, and they are on opposite sides. Yoruba music has nothing to do with Northern music. Igbo music has nothing to do with any of them. So it's just Nigeria cannot be put in a category.
So we're sticking with yours, Afrofusion.
I would call it Afrofusion. That's why a lot of times, Two-Face got on the billboard for world music. Why would they put him in world music? Because they don't exactly know what he does, And as awesome as it is, that's what we deal with. What is the Grammy going to nominate, or what are the Grammys going to nominate you for? Best nice haircut. Do you understand? They are going to want to be able to say best vocal performance. So what's vocal performance about your performance? Okay, best R&B. Okay, now they create a category that says best international act. But even in that category, people go, Femi Kuti gets nominated a lot. Of course he gets nominated a lot. He has a genre. He is a sound. Even if he decides to sing on a Wizkid song, he's still Afrobeat. Angelique Kidjo. These are people that were recognized by not the pop stations, not the pop awards, like the proper academy type awards. And that's where we need to start figuring out. Nigerians brag about what they have, but what they have is not exactly theirs all the way. And that causes a problem.
Well, quick question. Do you spend a lot of time working with other artists or even songwriters and music producers?
Well,
in terms of creating sounds and also just from songwriting? Because I know that you write songs as well.
Yeah.
So is that something that you have to take time away from music production to write songs?
Not really.
Is intertwined?
Very. For me, it's very intertwined because I've woken up several times with full songs. I mean, the beat, and the lyrics, and the arrangement. So it's that gangster.
Can
sometimes.
I be like you and I grow up?
Enjoy. Well, many times this happened.
Yeah.
So it's intertwined for me. I don't have to make a beat and think, oh, what do I put? In fact, at the point where I'm making the production, I already know what it's supposed to be about. That's even what drives the song. In fact, sometimes, and I don't tell this to a lot of artists, a lot of the productions I make for them, I have to make a song for me, then give it to them.
But no, they're telling them so they know.
Okay, now they know.
Yeah, they
But
know.
I mean, okay, very good example. Daria Talade featuring Olamide.
Okay.
I just got told, make something that will work for Daria. And then the Afrobeat, I thought, okay, Daria hasn't done Afrobeat. I'd like to do Afrobeat for him. And there was a friend of mine. So, once the beat started, I knew, okay, this was going to be another Asiko. Yeah. But it can't be the older ones he had. And that Asiko, that part was the first part that came. In fact, I made the production so that I could record that part. That's the demo.
Yeah.
And then we started composing from there. And then my guy who also writes, his name is Chang. That's his stage name anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, Chang. I can't even explain why it's so, because he's Igbo. But
does he have a social media handle?
Yes, he does.
What is his social media?
Call me Chang. That's call hyphen me. Call underscore me underscore Chang on Instagram. I don't know. I've not taken note of his handle on Twitter.
No, that's fine. It's just for, because I get people that, deserve the publicity.
Yeah,
so
he's a good writer. In fact, a lot of the songs I did with Psquare, if there was anybody I ran it by, it was him. Because we are kind of like muse. Where you find someone that, y'all are just, you can Jones and be serious in the same realm. I mean, we're just like that. So he's that guy, and we do a lot of writing. And for me, it's just how the music comes. But a lot of times they come in beats. Okay, a hook, a pre-hook, or a pre-chorus, and then a hook, and then the beat. Sometimes it's the beat and the verses. Very rarely do lyrics come without music.
Oh, wow.
Very rarely. Like, I could count the amount of times I wrote words that were not to a song. So it's just the way it forms in my head. I think I've just programmed, probably because of the way I started, because when I started production, I had all these demo softwares, so I had to start and finish the song. You understand? Fruity Loop was the guy that showed me that, like, I had to produce now and finish now. I couldn't save and come back to it. So maybe through that experience, I just knew, okay, Victor, the board of directors in my brain are sitting down. Okay, the beat guy is working, and then the lyricist is working, and then the melody guy is working, all just creating music. Which is why another thing is, for me, making music is a very short process. I'm not that guy that spends
12 hours.
Weeks on a song. No, unless I'm just having an off day. But for me, it's almost freakish. It freaks me out sometimes, because then I have to slow down and go, okay, are you speeding too much? But it's just the way it works for me. It's just the way it works for me. Music comes together a lot of times. Very rarely do I have a beat idea that doesn't have a song.
That's really cool. Like I said, I'm just jealous of that. So in terms of, I'm going to go into sampling now. What's your take on sampling from a creative perspective?
Well, sampling is just part of life, especially as a producer. If you ask me, sampling is just what we do is sampling for the most part. Very good example, Ejajo by Psquare featuring T.I. was inspired by Prince. He was, I wanna be your lover. Of course, I didn't bite the music, but I saw him at the BET Honors, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome,
Prince
Rogers Nelson. And then he's walking up, and then I heard that, and I'm like, I love that. I want to make something like it. So I'm guilty of sampling. I'm not ashamed of it because, I mean, music is very much derived. Even the genres where, like what you do, when you say you're a jazz musician, how did jazz come about? So at the end of the day, I'm not averse to sampling. I think sampling is good. How you sample though is another thing. It's one thing when your music inspires and then maybe I take one or two things out of it and I create something around it. It's another thing when I practically recreate what you did.
Because look at blurred lines. Like, seriously speaking, I mean, because I took what's it called, structured music law class this past semester, and that was one of the cases we discussed. And my professor played blurred lines and played Marvin Gaye's Got Together. I believe it was Got Together. I think so. Going to give it up, whatever. I need to double check that. But at different points, it sounded extremely similar, and then at certain points, it didn't sound similar. But the judge ruled that there was copyright infringement. So I guess I say that because when you touch on, like you say, you take one or two things from there. But like I said, the first time I heard Blurred Lines, I seriously said, "Oh, this is a Marvin Gaye song."
Okay. Now the way it works with me is my sampling for me is predominantly for the beats. A lot of times, and I get there are legal factors to it. That's why that's the creativity in it. Because I don't feel any one musician can say, "Oh, that melody is mine."
That's what my professor said.
Fixed.
Yeah.
If you play this melody anywhere in the world, I created it. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
If that was the case, probably David in the Bible, his generation was still suing people till today because he'll go, "Oh, that my pops played that for." So you understand? I'm just saying that realistically. So music inspired, but you see, some people bite your song, like go copy and paste.
Yeah.
That is shortcut. Do you understand? I mean, what producer wants to tell me he wasn't inspired by something he heard? Okay. Very good example, advertisement. You see all them billboards all over the place. And you drive by, maybe Agege, you see this billboard of Omo. And then you're in Ikeja, and you're in traffic, and there's this big Omo banner. And then you get to maybe the island, and on the toll gate, you see one big, maybe a woman with the wash with Omo. And then you get to the supermarket, maybe like a week later. And then you see Omo, and then you just feel like maybe I should get Omo. Now you tell yourself, well, I just had this genius idea that Omo works, but I mean, it's suggestive. You were practically being suggested too. So music does that too, maybe even quicker, because at the end of the day, I just hear it. I like it. I like the beauty. I like what it feels like. I want to recreate that, but not that.
Okay, so I was gonna go to the legal later, but let me even go to the legal now, because a lot of times in Nigeria, when we hear music producers sample songs, I always wonder, did they get the clearance on that? Did they get the license on that?
Well, that's now, I said I'm not averse to sampling. I think sampling is, if you are inspired by something, you create something that inspired, that in itself is sampling. But you see, for in the literal context, sampling, like taking, that is risky, because in Nigeria, it is the most abused thing. It is so bad here. Like, so many artists ought to be richer, but they're not. Because we don't have a structure. I can hear you sing something now that you've recorded, mixed, mastered. Go to my studio, record it, release it, and nothing will happen. That is terrible.
Yeah.
That happens all the time. So you see, I wish we could apply it here. A lot of artists we know will be in police case now, or maybe in court. They'll just be like, all of them. Maybe they'll be doing podcast shows, or maybe they'll be performing in Skype because they can't leave the court. Are
you insulting me that?
No. I'm just saying. Do you understand? Realistically, they do it so much that, and that's another thing. Royalty. That's another thing that we have not yet embraced, because the system feeds off it.
Did you get recognition as a music producer? Was it after a particular project or song?
Well, the biggest recognition I got, the biggest thing for VTEK, was working with Psquare. You know, on their last album, I had the highest production credit. I also produced Shakini.
Yeah.
You know, under much, you know, contempt, you know, I actually didn't get credit for personally.
Interesting.
Yeah, actually I didn't, because I produced personally.
Yeah, I know you did.
And in the way it's balanced. I produced personally, and it was co-produced by Paul, because it was an original idea from him. You understand?
Is there a reason why you didn't get?
Well, that's now the sentimental part. It's the issue of, it's now an individual thing.
Yeah.
It's an individual thing. It's not a business thing. We didn't have an arrangement that said, "Oh, VTEK, you don't get credit."
Yeah.
There's also another major artist that once told me, "Can I be a ghostwriter?" But this is post Psquare. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You understand? So, personally, Ejajo featuring T.I. Shakini was really big in the continent. You know, I did. That's basically where people knew VTEK from. VTEK has been there. I've done works. The song with Captain Femi was a year before. It was getting rotations and radio steady. A lot of people knew, but when they now went, okay, this is someone we have to look out for, was the Psquare time.
Because that was Double Trouble, right?
Yes.
And you produced 5 tracks: Shekini,
Yes.
Ejajo, No Be Joke,
EJ Love,
Enemy
and
Solo.
Enemy Solo.
Yeah.
That's Awilo's.
Yeah. And you also mixed and mastered.
Yeah, pretty much the entire album.
Except for I read that except for two
records.
Yeah, which was,
and those 2 records, of course, ran by me, because I was the supervising producer. Do you understand? It started with me, ended with me. So my contribution on the album was very huge.
Yeah, but, I think that just even during developing the show and just doing all the research, I think for me, it was just nice to see that music producers are actually being cited. You know, we're actually saying, oh, this was produced by VTEK. Credit to, you know what I'm trying to say? Because a lot back in the day, that was not. I mean, we're not perfect, we're not there yet. But I'm saying that it's nice to have that. To read something and say, oh, produced by VTEK, or you go to Wikipedia and you see, oh, the different tracks from Double Trouble, and it's like, oh, produced by this, produced by that. You have artists releasing album track list, and it specifically states who produced what, who mixed and mastered what.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, for one, it's good, you know, but like you said, we're not there yet.
Of course.
It's not enough to put a person's name on a jacket or Wikipedia.
No, yeah.
You understand? You have to make people. It's because. And I say this as a Nigerian. Nigerians, we don't really like ourselves. I think that's the way to describe it. Nigerians quickly become prejudiced because some people just have an issue with you being successful. Example, me. I am a victim of that, or was a victim of that. Now I'm not tied to those strings. Where you pop out and then some people are like, so okay, you produced Psquare, but when they came here that day, you were not with them now. And then you see people go behind and be like, what do you think? And then talks start coming out. Now people start building this impression of you that's not consistent with your person. At the end of the day, there's almost this silent resentment, especially because I didn't do what they call industry internship. I popped out of nowhere. So I had issues with a lot of people that were, in quotes, nice people, but they just felt like I was taking something that I didn't work.
But there's enough. I don't know. I feel like there's enough room in the sky for everybody to.
That's why I said we here don't really like ourselves. It is not enough to see, oh, there's space in the sky. It's, why are you here with me?
Yeah.
Why are we up here together? You be my junior now. You know those things that make their mind shallow.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it affects work. It affects work. So if you, the artist, say, oh, produced by VTEK, then they ask you another day and you go, oh, produced by one sound engineer like that, you're already negating what you said. Now, these guys want to go and so what, and the other producers, but I mean, I could use an artist or two as an example of what happens when your artist understands that these people don't need jackets. They don't need...
Yeah, it goes beyond that.
It goes beyond that. And if you have a producer, your producer is also an extension of you. You do not disconnect from the guy who makes your music that way. You understand? The way I disconnected from a few people. And I am thankful for it because I was in quotes under that shadow for a long time. I was new.
Yeah.
In 2014, getting my break, there was a lot I didn't know, and the people around me were not telling me. So I was jumping into loopholes, and time was gone. So I decided, it's better I have no ties with you. So I know I don't have anybody. It makes no sense to say, I have a father, but I don't have a father figure. It happens. I'm saying it does. Doesn't make it good. So that's basically it.
Just to quickly go back, what was it like working on Double Trouble album? What was that? What was the experience like?
The experience was good. It was good. I mean, these are at the time, they were Africa's top group.
Yes, they still are.
Well, by accomplishments.
Yeah.
Yes. But you see, time moves.
Yeah. Time waits for no one.
Michael Jackson is not the pop singer of the year this year's Grammy, or won't win it because he's not here. But by accomplishment, Psquare are the best. Work ethic, good.
Yeah.
Then they as people know the business. So working with them was a very good eye opener, for good and for bad, because I also came to understand the industry I'm in.
Yeah, I remember reading that, like you said that.
You understand? I came to remember to realize the industry I'm in. Like, okay, though, everybody's your friend, but they are not. So at the end of the day, I learned it from them. As much as I learned, okay, this is what it's like when you now being focused on. Okay, this is what it feels like when people now see you as a force to reckon with. Okay, that guy over there, this is how you run business with them. I learned it in that time. But then working with Psquare, I was studio engineer.
Okay.
I was not integrated into them. That's why I never went for gigs. I mean, the first time I saw Psquare perform was this year.
Oh, wow.
At Afrima, of which I wasn't nominated this year, but I was nominated last year and 2 years ago. That was the first time I saw these guys, and I had produced with these guys for 3 years. So I think that just basically explains what I'm talking about.
What was that experience like, seeing them perform?
Well, I already knew they were awesome at it, but at the same time, it was a happy, sad thing because from the back room, from the outside, it looked good, but from the back room, I'm like, that song, I produced it.
Yeah.
These people are cheering you now, but I never got, VTEK, let's go and watch me perform. Do you understand? But at the same time, I was helped several times by them. So it's like a half full, half empty scenario. But coming out of it, it now prepared me for what was next, because now people knew who I was. I wasn't trying to over introduce myself.
So apart from Psquare, because like I mentioned it during the introduction, what other artists have you worked with? Dare,
Shaman, I've worked with Awilo Lugumba. I did something with Jermaine Jackson before he left.
Okay.
There's a guy called Virgil from Portugal I've worked with, still working with him. There's a guy now that's really popping off. He's on the Francophone axis. His name is Jody Clark. Okay. Also popping off.
You have Dumebi, your artist?
Yes, Dumebi is also, by the way, she's a songwriter and she's also an awesome musician.
Hope to have her on the show sometime.
Yeah. It'll be sweet because again, that's why these shows exist, right? These people never get talked about. These are people that were there when I was creating the music I made for Psquare, so they know. They even have contributions, But okay, now maybe.
Is it true that you mixed and mastered some of Cynthia Morgan's songs?
There are only 2 Cynthia Morgan songs that have come out on that Northside that I did mix.
Oh wow!
Every single one. Lead Me On, Simatinia, German Jews, Taken. We could go on all day. Yeah. She had the one with Stoneboy, and on my mix jobs now, I put that awesome mix. It's a girl voice saying awesome mix because I can't go VTEK on the mix. Cheesy.
Yeah.
So I just hope people pick up on it. I've done quite a lot of work.
Is it true that you mixed and mastered Sini's Jam Question and Open and Close?
Yes, I did. I did Jam Question. I did Open and Close. I did the one. There's one. Okay, Open and Close and Jam Question. I did mix work and I mastered Oriente, and Shadi.
Oh, okay, cool.
You know, so in fact, it's one of the hardest things to do these days. Oh, VTEK, what have you done? And then I'm like, oh my God, I forget something now. You know,
yeah.
I've had work with the Neola. I've worked with quite a lot of people. Idris Abdul Karim. You know, I was on a song with him in 2013, of which the song got a nomination.
What was the song?
It's called Woes.
Woes, okay.
I Go Wozy.
It wasn't Moringa.
No, Moringa is another one.
Okay.
Moringa wasn't even that popular.
Yeah.
I Go Woes was the one that, you know, we were performing together, industry nights, you know, celebration. I did make some, you know, it's just at that point I was juggling production and artists. So I just decided, okay, you know what, producer is going to do a lot of work for me. Boom, artist on the side. So now when I go on stage, some people are like, how you sing? It's like that part of my life is now at upcomer side. Which is fair.
Yeah.
I don't pretend like you're supposed to know.
No,
You're not. You don't have a crystal ball. You know that when I pass by, it shows me on stage.
But as an artist in 2012, you released a mixtape called First Impression, right?
Yes, I did.
What was the reception like to that?
It was good, but it was very low key. You understand? It was mostly people who had already been looking at VTEK that saw it, not new people. Which is another thing that, you know, going forward, I am really working on, and I have to say it's a blessing to have to find your path on your own, because you learn. You know, VTEK is blessed. VTEK has, you know, the decorations, you know, the works. You know, the business is still a work in progress because it costs a lot to do music. And then I was just this guy that needed to get out. You know.
Right now we're listening to Dreams Away.
Yeah. So first impression was just, okay, let's put this out, you know, and then I met with Idris, like I think a year later or so. We did, you know, these songs together. I did the stage and I had to stop it for show and perform studio work, which was predominantly the Psquare album, you know. So moving forward, I'm like, okay, I have learned so much. Fine, whether you like it or not, you're in a business that needs money, but money is not everything. You understand? And I am working. I mean, I put out a record like the Christmas Eve called Holiday. I had all this bunch of people on it.
Yeah, I have that. That's the one with
Capital Femi, The Myth, you know, Dumebi, Chang, Metronomy, Oluchi. I call her Lucci.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, because you know, I was like, this because like when I saw Lucci, I was like, wait, I know there's a rapper called Lucci. So I was confused. I was like, is that the same? But I was like, this is a girl.
Well, this is a girl, and it's a girl. She was on one of the Project Fames, and she was one of the hot ones. Like she's really good. She's doing a lot of theater now. You know, that theater stuff. So, you know, this project for me is more personal because you see, now I cannot come out as an artist, but I cannot stay as a producer. So now, how do I balance it? And that's where the idea of VTEK Presents come from. That is VTEK Presents. It's a project, and I will be putting out a body of work most definitely next year. I already have some major collabos, you know, one of which is a song with Awilo. Okay. You know, I'm singing, all right, I'm producing, but it's like what Timbaland did with, you know, his albums. You know, he would do a bunch of parts, and then so this is my project. I am still doing production work, and because of the way I'm making this music, I can also perform them. You know, me and Dumebi do a lot of performances together because I actually have her do songs with me. So we perform together. And of course, it's always amazing because, I mean, she's also an amazing performer. You know, so it's amazing. You know, I would say, though, I wish in our business we got the financial credit as much as we got the, you know, I like to call them the mundane credit, because since I'm running my own private record label, I am funding it myself, you know, and I just look forward to, you know, people actually now looking and saying, look, we need to stop putting our money in. What illustration do I use? We need to stop putting our money inside leaking baskets, because there are many people that are just, you know, they are flash in the pan. You can deceive yourself all day. But you see, VTEK has done the test of time. Do you understand? I started production. My very first okay, this is a VTEK production, was in that got out was in I think 2009. So VTEK has been around, and he's still here. So naturally, you would think that a person would look at that and go, okay,
you have a track record.
I should be able to invest in that without, shitty standards and all of that. But hey, our country is seriously not that place yet, and very rarely happens. But I am of the opinion that it doesn't matter.
Now, now speaking of Jab Nation, do you have a publishing arm of Jab for Jab Nation or no?
Jab Nation is very new.
Okay.
That's registered. Yeah. It's very new. I've not even launched it. I mean, most people still think I'm with Awesome Express Music. They don't know I'm with Jab Nation.
So can you tell us a bit more about Jab Nation?
Jab. It's actually the full meaning is January Awesome Ventures. Okay. It's a venture. It caters to other things that I intend to branch out into. But
just to developing.
Yes. Okay. But it's the music first. So of course it caters to my production. When I work with a person, it's VTEK for Jab Nation. So that's what it is, and it's new. I have not done so many things. I've only registered the business. I have a legitimate business. But things like publishing, and yes, I have been blessed to work with some amazing people, but also unfortunate not to have worked with some amazing people. So I can do everything. I can't do everything. I can't chase publishing as focused as I would chase production.
And why is that?
The thing is, first of all, being that I perform, I started as an artist, so I'm not even doing it for the hustle. Yeah. I really want to do it. Yeah. It's still something that I have waking dreams about. You understand? Yeah. But you see why I said I can't chase both is this. It's responsibility. At the end of the day, whether we like it or not, there must be somebody or some people around you that go, okay, while you sort this out, let me sort that out. It becomes a hurdle when you have to sort both out.
You can't do because it's going to be creative, there's business and there's legal. One is going to have to suffer.
You understand?
So do you have a lawyer?
I have friends that are lawyers. Okay, I have one particular person that looks out. But again, this person is not my lawyer. It's my friend that's a lawyer. Because, like I said, coming into the business, there was a lot that just hit me. Yeah. I wasn't ready for it. Now I know. And moving forward, I know I have to just do things the right way.
Let's get lawyer, manager, accountant, publicist. Yeah. It was looking out for you.
I'm a very big fan of Mastercraft.
Okay.
I actually really like his stuff.
What is it that you like about Mastercraft?
The music. That's the thing. No matter what Mastercraft is producing, it's musical. So there's a lot of richness. You hear it and know that's music. Even if it's as we call it, tile track, it still feels like music. There's still emotion. There's a bass. I like what DJ Kublon does. I really do like it a lot. There used to be a producer back in the day called Spanky.
Yes.
I really liked. I don't know, but I liked his stuff.
That's so true.
I love the stuff. Yeah. Of course, I like what Don Jazzy does. Of course, major respect for Cobams. I mean, he was like the first producer I heard here that was doing things with music that I didn't think could happen here. You could hear a production and be like, that's a Nigerian guy. Okay, I think I need to fix what I believe about us. Somehow they played a role, And then, of course, my, I like to call him my big bro, Of course, Oscar. Yes. Oscar, for the most part, for me, apart from the music, he also has been influential experientially. I have picked up a lot from him. A lot. And I tell him, even if sometimes I want to do like this drive-by shootout on just his legs, not his over, just the legs. But I mean, he's also another producer of respect. He knows the sound. These are guys that are musical, so I'm attracted to that. There are tons of them. I wish I could recollect every.
But those are the ones.
But those are the ones that come to mind straight up.
And just making that connection again. Another question is: do you think that there's a healthy camaraderie amongst Nigerian producers?
Nope.
Why is that?
I have no idea. We are the guys that can't even have a committee.
Because I was going to ask, like, should Nigerian producers have a union?
Union of divided producers.
Hopefully 2017 changes that.
Yeah, well, I hope so. This is the thing. It's still, again, another mantra that makes this industry what it is. Not too good. Every man for himself. You hear things like, I be king for my lane. I'm like, things like that encourage you to be in your own tiny space where you might actually lose track of reality. So a lot of producers, because of the way we are, I mean, for me to get credit for my production at that time from a group of guys was wahala. So now imagine after all that hustle, you now come and say, okay, let's both share credit. Unless you think the way I do, your first instinct is like, no, go and hustle your own. Go and sort out your own. And that's how a lot of producers are. A lot.
You know, that's interesting because even just trying to get all these producers in Nigeria to do this podcast interview, I've been fortunate that I reach out to certain people and they're like, oh yeah, I should interview this person, interview that person. So I feel like it's sad that you feel that. Not that you feel that way, because like I said, I've also heard what you've said. People have said that there is no camaraderie at all. But on the flip side as well, even just trying to get you here, I know that was someone that was able to help me get your number. So
that's how the truth is. Yes, some producers look out for other producers. But in the end, what legendary beats do, two guys, is very uncommon. It is almost
it'll be one person that wants.
It's always one person.
Or Stargate, exactly.
And that's another thing. Okay, VTEK and Oscar, VTEK and Cobham. You see, that mix really also happens because every producer is in their own space, and very rarely do their spaces cross. Word of mouth is normal. Oh, yeah, you should work with that guy. Hey, you should meet Tony Ross. Tony Ross, by the way, is the producer of Cynthia Morgan, who's also a very good producer. Yeah. You get, I can say, oh, that's a good guy to talk to, but is it the same as, oh, that's a good guy to work with? Producers rarely do that. So it's the reality. Yeah. It's not even being negative.
Yeah, no, yeah.
It's just straight up the truth.
Yeah.
I am probably one of the only guys that really would like to sit with another producer. I mean, a lot of productions you hear, it's co-produced, but you don't hear about the co-producer. You only hear about the producer. Because that's the way the system here has been built.
Do you feel like one of the reasons why that's the case is because we don't have a proper structure? And do you feel that may change if we now get proper structure of distribution, everything that we need to get the Nigerian music entertainment industry to the place, like music industry? Let me not focus on entertainment, music industry.
The thing is, if there's a structure, it would be mandatory. For instance, what I did personally, for instance, it wouldn't be a war. It wouldn't have been a discussion. VTEK worked on personally. VTEK did 95 to even 98% of that production.
But there's certain, again, I'm not sure if this is true, but I've heard that even in the States, there's certain A-list music artists that you work with, and you produce your songs, and they say that they want to get co-production because they just want to get co-production. Well, and you as the producer will have to decide if you want to or you don't. Because if you say no, they would not. Now,
the thing is, co-production credit, it applies for things like royalty.
Yes.
That's why a lot of the artists want to put their names there.
Yeah, of course. No, yeah.
They want to feel like, oh, and I should be able to. But you see, that's even better. If it was a case of VTEK produced and Man A or Man B co-produced, is fine. But it's another thing where Man A says I produced and VTEK co-produced, but he's telling the collecting bodies that no, this guy doesn't get that much of a share. His contribution is small. But that's the guy on the chair. That's crazy. Yeah. So a lot of these things are not set in place. So if I walk into your session, like and let's say you produce, and you say, oh, VTEK, come, I would like you to add the bass line, and then I show up and I add the bass line. I've done extra programming. That's another thing people don't talk about, programming. And at the end of the day, it says produced by you. Ideally, you could get into legal issues because now you are saying that my work which I should get credit for.
Is it significant? It's non-existent.
Do you understand? It's non-existent. But you see here, it's not so. If it was so, a lot of productions will have at least 2 or 3 people's names on it.
Yeah, I mean, some tracks you see, and they're like 5 producers, like 6 producers.
You understand?
Yeah.
So it's not. It's where we've not gotten to yet. People are still struggling to be seen, to be noticed. You need to see me enough. So you are not even thinking, well, why don't they see all of us together? You know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just the truth, and it's a sad reality that may take too long to fix, because Nigerians are not big fans of themselves. I don't mean it like you don't have fans, but I mean it like this thing I'm saying now. Someone should hear it and go, really, it makes sense. Let's do something about it. But no, because at the end of the day, why should he do it? Because VTEK said it. You know, so it's not even a question of if it's right or wrong. It's a question of how does it affect you, self. You now come back into your box, and then everybody's looking at everybody. Now, what this man could have done to make it better, he won't do, because hey, it doesn't concern him until it does.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's a sad reality here that is real. It's real. It makes it gangster for us producers.
Yeah.
You know, I do go to the clubs every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Just maybe visit, or there might be an event, or there might be someone who invited me, which is very much likely the case.
Yeah.
You know, I club not that much, but I try to just be in touch. And because creativity is not boxed by the time you're in, maybe that's why a person could say, okay, VTEK is not a 2-day sound, he's just a sound. I don't go out and go, oh, that's what people are dancing to, I should make more of that. So I just narrow it down to, do I want to do it? Will it be fun for me? And I'm a geek.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, now we know that you're a geek.
But actually, I'm the geek that the girls liked.
So they've stopped liking you?
No, they still do.
Okay.
Not,
you said liked. And
no, like high school geeky.
Oh, okay.
You know, like not the dumb smack him and throw his books on the floor geek.
Yeah.
No, I was not that type of geek. But yeah, hey, I guess it also reflects in the way I work.
Yeah.
You know, it actually does reflect in the way I work.
Okay, so in terms of not going to the clubs to identify sounds and say I have to produce that kind of sound as well, what have you been listening to recently, and what types of sounds get you hyped?
Well, I like instrumental music. Okay. You know, I listen to a lot of soundtracks, like movie soundtracks.
Me too.
A lot.
Yeah.
You know, orchestral music is like the high for me. I want to really get, you know, do more of that, but you know, it's gradual.
Yeah.
Then I listen to I that's the funniest thing. I think it almost suggests that this nigga has no order. But for me, there is too much music. I listen to any. Lately, I've been listening to a lot of I think it's called Sukus, the guy called DJ Arafat. Like I've been listening to him a lot. At the same time, I've been listening to a rock band or a rock artist called Numi.
Okay. Is that
Lovely.
Not
Nigerian. Okay. He has an album called Be Your Own God. I've been listening to a lot of Drake, The Views. I've been listening to a lot of, you know, I have all these old CDs here, the Osadebe and Co. I just mix it up. Okay. You know, so I'm just in that realm. Yeah. I'm not here.
Yeah.
You know, and it's fun. I like it that way. It works for me fine. You know?
Cool. All right. You know, before I go back to the fun questions, I wanted to ask you, you know that magical healing song from Psquare? What was it? Was it, because it never was it off an album?
Actually, it was just, that was the first thing I did for them. Yeah. It was almost like a test, and they were willing to run with it, but then it leaked.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah,
it leaked, and I had no idea. Although we didn't even bother to find out because, I mean, ideally, they were intending to feature a big international act on it. It would not even make sense for me to leak it, knowing that, oh, this chick might be on it, or this guy might be on it. Yeah. So, you know, it was just the reality of it, and that was when we stopped letting people have these songs before it was released. Yeah, sure. You know, there's a song of mine that I have not even released. I played it for a DJ here on Christmas Day, and he said somebody sent it to him. I don't know how the person got it, but then at one point or the other, 1 or 2 people have gotten the song.
So how do you just let anyone into your studio?
No.
So how do they get it?
First of all, I have friends that I let listen to my music. The friends have the list has shrunk.
Yeah, because
Now,
I
yeah,
was about
it has
to
really
say,
shrunk.
Yeah.
You know, but apart from that, there's also the fact that, you know, we just casually let people have, like, there's that one guy that you just let have your song. Now, all sorts of variables might be the reason why the next person got it. So now I'm just very careful, you know, especially for full songs.
Yeah.
Like the song I did with Awilo. The only person that has it is the guy who, for a long time, had been doing my online PR. He's the only one. And that's because he and I know the game.
Yeah.
We don't mess around with that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, he's also quite good, and he's very intelligent. So he's a guy that, oh, let me listen, let me have ideas of what we can do with it. You know, so that's it though. I don't mess around no more.
I
Nope.
don't mess around no more. Okay.
Nope. Dari is a musician, as in proper musical musician. Psquare, they can fall under the category of pop. They are not as musical as Dari, which is fine because, hey, not everybody can be the same. Do you understand? Bryson Tiller is no J. Cole, but we appreciate both of them equally. Now, that now fixed the idea on the minds of many that, oh, this guy just does all those style. It started making them really see that, okay, maybe this guy is not stuck in a box. You know, and for me, it's hey, what could I say? I'm here now, and I want to do things better. You know, I actually intend to run this coming year. I'm going to be doing a lot of publicity. You know, directed ones, not boom. Everybody and then that guy that knows you will say he knows the guy that knows the guy that knows you know. It's more deliberate. People can now go, okay, this is where he is.
Yeah, the website.
I'm actually working on a website. You know, we've done photo shoots. We're gonna do more.
Yeah.
Basically, we have the material for my YouTube and all of that. I have videos. I actually have sessions of people I've worked with. I'm gonna be doing. I wanted to do like this tutorial, like a real tutorial class. Initially, it was a seminar I wanted to run. Then I wanted to do a tutorial class, and decided, okay, you know what? I have my YouTube page. I have produced many great records, and I have their projects. I can always just run through of how this music was made. You know, I have all those videos. I have everything. It's just, okay, now how do we put it? How do we get people to see it? Where do we direct our funds? Because, I mean, Nigeria is so gangster now. Money is like the 90%, you know, dry. There were a lot of things that were free. They're not anymore. And these things happened
overnight.
So you don't really have much time to prepare. But, hey, I like the climate because, hey, we didn't create the jungle, but we gonna live in it, and we gonna get rich.
And thrive.
You know.
Speaking of the production process, what was it? Because I'm playing Zaina's Pana.
Yeah, Pana.
What was it like making that track?
Actually, that record I made it a while ago. I sent it to someone, you know, an artist, and for lack of a better term, they were slacky. So, then I sent it to another. And then she was not. She wanted it, but she was playing a card that I wasn't comfortable with. Now I was supposed to do stuff for Zena, and then I just played it for her. And then she said, "Okay, let me play it for Deola, who's you know." And then she was blown away. And the song that was with me for maybe 4 or 5 months, we finished it in 4 days. This song is predominantly Dumebi. That's Dumebi. She's the one that pretty much wrote this song.
Did you know what inspired her to write the song?
Actually, I had the direction.
Oh, okay. What was the direction?
The direction was you know, this strong female character, like you know, girls culturally here are of the opinion that you can't ask a guy out. But this chick is like, yo,
she's very strong, driven.
You know, I know you like me.
We're going to go out.
You know, it's very, very, you
assertive.
know, Shaka Zulu Lina or something like that. So, so basically, that's what it is. And she cut it, you know. She did the demo. And then, of course, Zena performed it.
Yeah.
Now, Zena killed it. I mean, hey, Zena did really well with it.
All right. got a few more minutes. Let me just go back to the fun random questions. What do you miss? This is a weird question, but what do you miss the most about being an unknown producer?
What I miss the most. This is a very weird way to say it, but then people just supported because I was that small boy that we soon blew.
Yeah.
You know, that's actually what I miss, because once I did something and 4 nominations here, 3 nominations here, this song is topping the charts, people are calling me from other countries, then all of a sudden you're like, you don't do now. You know, that's actually what I miss, because VTEK of 2012 would have gotten someone to put down 10 million. VTEK of 2016 is having people going, you've come quite a distance. And now you these things, so we can't come at you and say, give us this, and we'll give us 10% and we'll take 90%.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Yeah. Which is something I hear there is actually a label or a body, I don't know, in the country right now that will sign you, they will invest, do everything, but everything you get from them is 10%. And I think it's for 5 years or so. And I'm like, how desperate can one be?
But is it even if it's a 360 deal, that's like 1090? Wow.
And 1090 is crazy. I think 1090 is crazy because it can work for the first year. Yeah. And then when you pick up, it may not be enough. Yeah, especially when the company is not under obligation to take care of you. Mm-hmm. So that 10% now has to cater to maybe even production. Yeah. So now all of a sudden 10% that was good for. So VTEK of them, that's the only thing I truly miss. I don't miss being unknown in terms of visually, because not a lot of people know my face. I know a lot of people see me and go VTEK, and then they reference the song I did. I'm like, wow, so but what I miss is that natural support for the young guy coming up. Because once I got here and I got something, most of those people started, there's this idea that once you make wave, you become proud, you become snobby. So a lot of people were ready for that and just assumed it. Yeah. The other half were like, we've been here, and now you want to show up, and let's ride. It now became like this turf war. Yeah. It's silent, but it's there. And then it became a hell of a journey, because this is 2016. My biggest project was in 2014. Between then and now, I've not done a whole lot, because I literally sucked myself in. I wasn't going out. I was just indoors trying to figure stuff out. What do I really want to do? Okay, now someone comes and says, VTEK, what do you want to do? You can't tell them, I want to be the greatest producer ever. That's so scattered, But now I have plans. I have business plans. I have things that are just waiting to be executed. Yeah. That's cool. So that's what I miss, really.
Good. That's really nice to hear. What are your 2 favorite songs of 2016 in Nigeria?
Okay, Nigeria. My 2 favorite songs.
Even from a production level.
The funniest thing is I listen to a lot of the songs, and sometimes I even get confused when they were made. Do you understand? For instance, when you said my favorite, you said 2016.
Well, we will have one more date of 2017.
Exactly. When you say 2016, I'm thinking, what are the songs I heard? Okay, there's a song by Bracket and Timaya. It was produced by Mastercraft. I really loved the production.
What's it called?
Celebrate.
Oh.
I really liked the production, really loved it. Let me see if I could think, because I wasn't. I'm a fan of what Techno is doing, but his song was not my favorite song. I liked it a lot. Yeah. I love this Diana song. If I was to pick a second, I'd say Diana. Yeah. Because I like how it sounds and I like the consistency. That's about it. It's very scattered, because all my favorite songs are from 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Most of them. Yeah. I can name them for days, but this year, I don't know. Maybe Celebrate.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much, VTEK.
You're welcome.
This has been... I was going to ask you what should we expect from you in 2017, but you have already said at the beginning that we should expect a lot of awesomeness.
Yeah, actually, it's going to be, because this time around, I'm done figuring stuff out. It's execution time. Yeah. And I feel sorry for anyone who tries to obstruct it. I also feel, blessed to be here. And I tie everything to God. This time around, I don't I don't want to take credit for being alive because he's the one who does it. I tell anyone, I tell my crew, you got to check with God. That's the most important thing. 2017 is sure because he confirms it, period. I don't care what the circumstances are.
Yeah, so you're talking about how people can stay in touch with you on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So,
Well, my Facebook is www.facebook.com/VTEK
That's
or,
DA.
Yeah, DAWESOME. Now, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, I have one name, at VTEK Awesome.
Okay.
Now, when you link up with any of these profiles, you can get further information on how to reach me, like my email, maybe even a phone number you could reach me by, But my handles, VTEK Awesome, at VTEK DAWESOME, no space.
Okay. Cool. And just end it on a positive note for those people who, or anyone who's trying to become a music producer. What advice would you have, or would you like to give to them?
The advice I'd give anyone, it's maybe even a life advice, is fail and get it out of the way. I think that's the word. Don't come in here afraid that things will be rosy. No. If you know, okay, it's going to take 7 failures, 7 mishaps to get to the 8th day of glory, you should start now. A lot of people haven't started because of these fears. A lot of people have started, but they're afraid to go further because of these things. You have to start. Fail and get it out of the way. Learn, grow, put yourself out. Believe in your craft. People will question you. People will challenge you. Oh, what do you think you have? You tell them, this is what I have. And then you put it on the table and they're like, wow, this guy knows his or her onions. So it's very important that, first of all, you can't come with fear. You have to get up and go. 2, actually work on your craft. The longevity favors those who reinvent themselves. Longevity favors the reinventors of self. So you cannot be a fixed being creatively. You must develop. As you are facing the challenges, you are also getting better. So the challenges have no choice but to respond to you.
What books can they read, or what websites can they go to visit to stay on top of what's going on in the music production industry, not just in Nigeria, but also around the world?
Well, I think what I'll do is anyone who wants to get resources from me should follow me.
Okay.
You understand? Yeah, I actually do have a lot, because I could link to websites, but you see, I can throw you off, in quotes. I have things I learn with. They're in front of me. I can give you that. But you got to follow me and contact me.
You got to, to get that information.
Exactly.
Well, VTEK, this was did you have a good time?
Actually, I did. It's been a while that I just spoke awesomely.
Awesomely. Yeah, this awesomeness. But I'm really glad I did this interview with you. I'm so glad, because I was really I was kind of worried that wasn't going to happen. You're super busy trying to get me here, but I'm glad that you took out time. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
So we're looking forward to hearing more from you in 2017.
Yep.
Lots of awesome stuff.
Yep.
Lots of new work with artists. Website manager, all the great stuff that you're looking forward to.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. This is the show. I'll be back with episode 3 with another special producer on the show, talking about the creative process, and we'll touch on issues on business and legal matters. Till then, stay tuned. Bye. To ensure that you don't miss subsequent episodes, you can follow us on our various social media handles. On Twitter, we are at TheSNCPodcast. So that's TheSNC Podcast. So TheSNC Podcast. On SoundCloud, you can find us at The SNC Show. So that's TheSNC Show. On Instagram, we also are at the SNC Show handle. And for those who would like to reach out to me by email, my email is shadenonconformist@gmail.com or shadenonconformist@yahoo.com. Alternatively, you can follow me on Twitter at shadenonconform. Till next week, bye.